So I think today, as part of this discussion, we'll explore how AI, Gen AI, emerging agentic systems are transforming business intelligence into something more dynamic, interactive, and impactful. We'll talk about what it means when insights are generated on the fly. We'll talk about the challenges, trust, governance, errors that happen, which is on top of our minds with our esteemed panelists. And then, of course, I do hope our panelists will share their bold ideas. So maybe Sridhar, with you, we moved from dashboards to predictions, and now we are talking with data. So just wanted to understand your perspectives on how do you see AI, Gen AI, reshaping the very definition of business intelligence as we understand today.
Let me actually start with an example, right? I think that would actually set the context. I think we are working with a global CPG company where over the years, they have built a lot of reporting using Tableau, BI reports, or whatever it is, right? They have like 27 reports that have been built over the last 7 to 8 years. And today, with the advent of Gen AI and AI, they were looking at entirely transforming them. And one of the key things we found is that, like, out of the 27,000 reports that they have in this global organization, 80 to 85% of them have been used once in a while, actually. So once in a month, once in 3 months, and some of them in once in 6 months, etc. So they were looking at a vision, like, say, how do we transform this with the use of Gen AI and agentic AI? So we have embarked on that exercise where we said, like, instead of 27,000 reports that we have, which are like static in nature, we want to actually transform it into 30 to 40 templates, actually. What I call it as 30 to 40 templates. And these 30 to 40 templates, actually, so any of the departments can come in. It's maybe marketing, let's say the sales or the research teams, they can come in and use one among these 30 or 40 templates, and then they can actually start generating the reports in a dynamic manner. What happens is that somebody can ask the question in a natural language way, and then the question actually goes to the large language models. An agent will pick that up, and then it will translate into an SQL syntax. The SQL syntax will go and hit your Databricks or Snowflake layers that they have. It actually brings the data out, and then there is another agent which will take the data, generate the Python code, and then it will generate the graphs and the reports. So you think of, like, today, if you have to build a report in whichever reporting tool that you takes, you have to send a request, somebody picks the request from the IT team, they have to go to the tool, build the report. Anywhere it takes 3 weeks to 4 weeks. So that is the time. Now you have 30 to 40 templates which can actually do the work, and then you can get the report in the next 15 minutes or 20 minutes, depending upon your complexity of the query. So that is the shift that this organization is actually made.
Maybe Vivek, I'll come to you. Generative AI is obviously making BI more accessible, just like what Sridhar said. Today, you can get information on your tips. And now we have agentic, which is coming, and it's moving a step further, where it is also enabling a machine to work for us, think for us. And you are part of healthcare industry. So how do you bring the balance between human decision making and machine driven insights? So how do you bring that trust and action as part of this?
So in terms of BI or data intelligence implementations itself, the success rates are abysmally low. As he was just saying, out of some 27,000 reports, 80% odd reports are used only once, infrequently. With any data intelligence system, that is a huge problem. How do you get adoption? That is the fundamental problem. Every organization that we've seen has some BI, some dashboards and reports built. Nobody uses it. If you ask the tech team, they will say top of the line, we have all data. If you go to business, they'll say we have no data. All data is wrong. We just use Excel sheets. That's the fundamental problem, which means all the data intelligence that is available in the organization is not actionable. There is a team that builds it as a hygiene factor, but no one uses it. 2 goals that we set out when we set out to build our data intelligence journey: democratization and institutionalization. When we say democratization, every role in the organization will have access to the right data or right insights to drive their actions. And when we say institutionalization, data intelligence is not a choice, but the process. AI is now able to dynamically generate action, as he was saying. You have a lake house or a data warehouse that is there. There is an agent sitting on top. Not just conversational AI, where the user needs to ask questions, but as you mentioned, agentic AI, where there is an agent that knows what to highlight to the user. So instead of a pull system, it is helping getting to a push system, where it automatically figures out what the next action needs to be and automatically triggers it to the user. That is what we are all running towards. And in the next few years, there will be a lot of agents that are there in your data system that is able to tell users exactly what the next action is. And this is not just from a business intelligence standpoint, but from our industry, also from a clinical intelligence standpoint, where it is able to tell every clinical care worker what they need to do next and why they need to do it. So that is the transformation we are seeing.
Sure, thank you, thank you. So maybe, Koushik, I'll come to you because we are talking of data. So if data, we say, is the new oil, then AI is now the refinery, right? Which is churning that data into multiple facets. So with this new kind of value coming in for businesses, and that to a business like yours, which is now where you are able to give in more predictive, generative, autonomous insights. Can you give us some examples how the business models are changing through the insights that you are now able to provide, and how it's impacting the overall ecosystem of payments?
Yeah, sure. So I'll tell you. I'll tell you. Look forward into the future, right? This is an idea we sort of started working on. The product is not ready, but just to give you a sense of where it's going. So let's take in the credit business, right? There is a manual underwriting team that helps us make the decision, right? When somebody applies, a good chunk of customers, just based on the bureau and all of those, you make an automated decision, and 30 seconds you have a decision. But there's another big chunk, especially in a country like India, where the bureau is not very deep and not everything is reported to the bureau. We look at their income statement, we look at their bank statement, we look at a bunch of other things to decide should we give a loan or how much we give and at what rate. So that is done by manual underwriting team, right? But if you think about what the manual underwriter is doing, they are taking the different sources of data presented by the customer or by the systems in the back, like bureau, etc., and then tying all of that together to be able to come out and say, okay, this is a decision that's appropriate for this customer. The problem in that is, if I look at the losses for the different types of this thing, my top quartile underwriters are brilliant, right? They pick up on the pattern. They say, hey, you know what, every month a certain amount is being deducted and going to this peer-to-peer. You probably have a loan that is not reported because every month I see 5,000 rupees going out of your account or 10,000, whatever, right? But my quartile 3 or quartile 4 agent is not able to do that. This is where I think intelligence comes into play. So with GenAI, the tool that we sort of intend to build is stitch all of that information together to be able to then say, these are some red areas that you should look at, right? And take a decision. Will be phase 1 of that. And I'm sure over time, the agent itself can take a decision on many of these cases. So this is like a real life example where the intelligence is not just about creating a report, but actually taking a decision on an application that improves turnaround time and accuracy quite a bit.
So maybe Chandramouli, that's a great question to ask a tech in banking sector, because I think trust is a very, very tough and a non-negotiable for any of your operations. Trust is the currency for business intelligence. So when you have insights which are coming up at next speed, you were talking about democratizing data and insights. Then how do you really ensure reliability, transparency, accountability of those actions coming through data? How do you really manage that?
Thanks for asking that question. And I think I do not say at this point in time that we trust the intelligence coming from AI. I don't think most of us can say that we trust it. For example, if the traditional ML and AI, if we have given a set of data with an explicit outcome to the ML scientist, they do modeling on it, and after some point in time it becomes accurate, then itself there was a bit of mistrust of it, right? That was small. Over a period of time it refines and then we start to trust it. Now does Gen AI change that entire paradigm? It does not, right? If I draw a parallel, we had on-prem systems, then we went into cloud. Do we trust the reliability of the cloud? We do not. But what we do is, we know the cloud has a higher failure rate because I'm not controlling it. I will build the systems to fail fast, fail first, and I'll have a backup, right? So the strategy changes. The same way when we are looking at what we are doing from a business intelligence now into a decision intelligence, where we are using a lot of on the spot, real time, someone just asks in either chat or they are getting a prompt on the basis of some pattern which is predicted. What is important is we have complete transparency, which means you're not just giving the insight, you're also telling what is the basis data point which is giving that insight, what is the confidence level with which you're giving it. So the things which, say for example, I have someone who is with me, who is able to tell me that this is the intelligence that I'm able to draw out of this, but I'm not very confident. Jo dekhna hai, dekh lo. Right? That gives me the confidence to take a decision on the basis of it with a pinch of salt. And that is what we are evolving to, where we do not know it's 100% accurate, but you get some insight.
So maybe on that, Mathangi, coming to you, we all are sitting here, are there to earn business, win business for our firms. And now with AI and now Gen AI, agentic, things are moving very fast in terms of insights. What our customers expect from us is what will come in days ahead. So as a co-founder of Uverse, how do you really manage the changing AI landscape and its impact on your customers and its impact on your current services portfolio that you kind of deliver?
AI is bread, butter, and life. That's what it is for us. And it's been an excellent time and excellent space to be part of, because what you think of an idea today is a reality tomorrow, right? So, and having worked with some of the largest banks in India, HDFC being one of our important customers, we have figured out just the potential that's just waiting to be untapped with AI, right? So there's enough and more use cases, enough and more problems that can actually solve that problem. And I believe in any technology is worth its salt only if it actually makes democratization possible. So how do you make sure that you kind of lessen the divide between the haves and the have-nots? And today AI can do that. So it can take it to the last mile, to the not so fortunate segments, and make their life better, be it healthcare, be it legal, be it finance, be it making sure certain things are worked on by it, right? That's the difference that AI can make. I want to quote one of the case studies that we had done with farmers in Rajasthan and Haryana and other parts of the rural belts in India, where it was a collection reminder call, but it goes in their language, speaks as natural as it can, and then they get to pay. So there is also a lot of dignity that goes as part of the conversation, because as part of my role, I listen to a lot of human conversations, and you will be surprised, and this is what I tell my customers all the time, is that you will be surprised of how bad those conversations go. Especially in collections, it gets extremely frictionsome, very abusive, both parties shouting at each other. But while you take the conversational AI equivalent of it, it can handle it much more matured, much more gracefully. and much more, the responses it gives are far more that way well thought of, if we can use that word.
I'll open for any questions from the audience.
The other side's a human, venting out anger, abusing, and doing lots of talking. How does your conversational agent behave? Behaves the same across the entire conversation, or does it change? Because you're taking all the pressure.
So I'll give you an example, right? So this is, customer says you are overcharging me a lot, and then uses certain abusive words to the bot. The bot reacts saying, I will not entertain abusive behavior, but I'm here to help on your payment. I'm here, but if you don't make the payment, you are going to get your credit score down, you'll not get any loans, etc. Right? So it will maintain calmness while speaking, but yet very assertive in what it is speaking.
You declare that it is a bot, how many people would continue the conversation? Do you expect a turn down rate?
The human-machine relationship possibly is far more than what we think at this point in time, and maybe lot more to be explored than what is even being explored very transactionally. It can go very, very deep, and humans expose their vulnerabilities to machines because somewhere in their mind they are thinking that entity at least is not judging me, right? So possibly.
If I might just add a couple of things on that question. So interestingly, I have met across a lot of people. So putting at least that level of intelligence to the conversation, what has happened is now slowly a lot of people are concerned about whether the job is done, which helps them achieve the job better. So gone are the times we ask question to our parents. Now we ask a Perplexity or a Chat GPT. It's not our parents, but people have learned to make the transition. I think there is a transition being done where people are more focused on getting their job done versus emphasize harder on whether it's a bot or a person at the other end. There is a mind shift happening.
AI has arrived because the questions are all about what machines are doing rather than what they're doing to us. So I think it's been a phenomenal closure.